While I was in Europe, I noticed that a much larger portion of the population seemed to smoke cigarettes. Not only was it more popular, but tobacco's acceptability in restaurants seemed to make smoking much more noticeable than in the US. When I got back from my trip, I began doing some research to see how much of a problem smoking is for Europe. Every year, over 1.6 million people are killed in Europe because of tobacco-related diseases. This is equivalent to the US city of Philadelphia, the fifth most populated city in the nation. In fact, 16% of the annual deaths of adults in the World Health Organization's European region are caused by tobacco. This is a strikingly high number compared to the 3% in Africa and the 7% in the Eastern Mediterranean. Because our study abroad program remained primarily in Western and Central Europe, we weren't even exposed to the countries that lit up the most. Eastern European countries are the worst offenders, with more than half of the male population in each country smoking regularly. While the average life expectancy of the world increased for men by 5 years between 1980 and 2010, it actually declined for Eastern European men. Serbia leads the world in tobacco use, consuming 2,861 cigarettes per person per year. Smoking is putting a tremendous economic burden on the European economy as well. In 2012, smoking cost the economy 544 billion euros, or 4.6% of the EU's GDP. This cost is estimated beyond the direct cost of smoking-related illnesses and death. It also encompasses healthcare expenditures, loss of earnings and workplace productivity, value of premature death, and smoking damage, litter, environmental harm, and contamination. The main tobacco companies in Europe are turning out annual profits of between 9 and 11 billion euros. The European tobacco companies' operating profits are projected to grow between 2.5% and 3.5% in the next 12 months. This has shrunk from the 5 to 6% projections made in 2013 because the sluggish economy is causing consumers to trade down to cheaper brands and rolling their own cigarettes. Greater health concerns are keeping newer users from picking up the habit. E-cigarettes are not expected to make a meaningful contribution to revenue until 12 months from now, but they are currently seeing more sales growth than traditional cigarettes. It's easy to see that smoking is a serious issue in Europe, but what is being done to fix it? The European Parliament began creating stricter laws governing member countries in March of 2014, including banning flavored cigarettes, tougher rules for e-cigarettes, and increasing the number of health warnings on tobacco packaging. The World Health Organization has recently become very successful lobbying for tax increases on cigarettes in Europe. The theme for the 2014 World No Tobacco Day was to globally raise taxes on tobacco to reduce demand. The European Union currently taxes cigarettes at 75% of their retail price, the rate recommended by the World Health Organization. Raising taxes is the most effective way to reduce cigarette consumption and costs nearly 20 times less for the government to obtain the same health benefit than any other method. Because of these high prices for cigarettes, illicit trade for tobacco has become very popular, making up 10% of the European cigarette market. Countries are stepping up their border security and ratifying treaties such as the World Health Organization's Framework Convention on Tobacco Control to reduce the amount of undercover traded cigarettes in the world. In conclusion, cigarettes are causing Europeans a number of different economic, health, and societal problems. While many of these are present in the US at a smaller scale, the most important thing I learned from this project is how detrimental cigarettes are to anyone who smokes them.